Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach Wamalak Bashai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth. It's like a magnifying ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there zealous, diligent, and on fire, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmer Shai, Ashar Kadash, right? It is the new moon, the 6th month of the year. Call Yahweh Bashima Mashiach Wamalak Bashai. Another month to build yourself up from darkness to increase in light unto perfection, and to understand that Yahweh Bashmer Shai has given us the moon and the sun and the stars for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, right? And the moon, the new moon, it should be a sign of instruction too, knowing that this is an opportunity for the Most High, given that the Most High gives us for us to transition again from darkness, the same way that the moon goes from darkness, then it goes with various phases until it reaches perfection, right? And that's the mentality that we should be having. It's another month where the Most High is essentially giving you a clean slate. It's a blessing to be in the truth. So brothers have to look at the darkness that they have within them and then slowly but surely increase in light, right? So shalom to everybody tuning in. Yvette McKellar, Elijah Jones, Kyoko Banyamyan, H. Flood, Don Israel Tamid, Kasaya Servant 144K, Sweet Styles, Nigel Blends, Harmless as Doves, and everybody tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. New Moon Lesson, the Song of the 24 Elders. We're going to dive right into it through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach Wamalak Bashai. We're going to be in the book of Revelation. We're going to go into some prophecy, and we're going to dive into the Song of the 24 Elders, right through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shah. Right, so let's start off with the book of Revelation. Actually, we're going to start off with the 5th chapter. Right, we're going to start off with Revelation chapter 5 and verse number 1. So this is Revelation 5 and 1. Now remember, to preface this, John was sent to the Isle of Patmos for the word of the Most High God. Out of the 12 apostles, John the Revelator is the only apostle. When you study history, he was the only apostle that wasn't a martyr for Yahweh Shah, right? Peter was crucified, Andrew was crucified, other disciples, they went through various tortures. Some were skinned alive, beaten alive, but John was sent to the Isle of Patmos to receive revelations that Yahweh Shah would give him concerning the end of the world, right? Now, this is Revelation chapter 5 and 1. And I saw in the right hand of him, make sure the screen is shown. Okay, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. So these 7 seals, what they represent is they represent prophecies throughout time, right? You have the first seal, the second seal, the third seal, all the way up into the 7th seal. So in chronological order, you have various prophecies that are going to unfold. And the sons of God and the children of men, the sons of the wicked, our lives are based off of these different seals. So the 7th seal is when the completion of our deliverance is going to happen. The 6th seal is the peak of World War III. The 5th seal is the time of Jacob's trouble, martyrdom, etc. So right now we're currently going through these different seals, right? And these different prophecies that are going to unfold. Now let's read on in Revelation chapter 5 and 2. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book right? Can brothers hear me? All right, let me know if you can hear me and or see me. Right? Can you hear me and or see me through the spirit? Can you hear me and or see that was going on a rant? Okay, and I saw in the right hand of him. Wow. Okay, so I have to go all the way back. All right, so bear with me. So we're cut off around the book of Revelation, the 5th chapter. All right, that's all right. So I'll go back to Revelation, the 5th chapter. Right? I didn't even know it cut out. So that's Satan right there, causing confusion. So I want to read Revelation chapter 5 and verse number, I'm going to jump down to 8, right? Revelation chapter 5 and 8. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. So John saw these 4 beasts, which are 4 angels, and he also saw these 24 elders. And the 24 elders, they had harps and golden vials, which is essentially a bowl full of odors. When it says odors, it's really going into incense, right? And aroma that comes from incense. Those are the prayers of the saints. And as we go into these 24 elders, we're going to break down exactly who they are and what their song is and what that means. Now, right now, we're seeing that these 24 elders, they're doing what? They fall down before the Lamb, right? So they submit to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They also have harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Verse number 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So their song is essentially praising Yahweh Shai for being able to open up the prophecies, give the understanding, and redeem them out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. And also that they were made kings and priests, and they're going to reign on the earth. Now, these 24 elders, there's a lot of skepticism, right? If that's the word, on who these 24 elders are, right? Is it people are saying, is it the 12 judges? Is it the 12 apostles and the 12 the 12 sons of Jacob? What are the 24 elders? Well, in order to understand who the 24 elders are, because before we break this song down, we have to understand who's singing the song, right? In order to understand who the 24 elders are, who's actually praising Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for unlocking the prophecies, we have to go to the previous chapter, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 4, right? This is Revelation chapter 4 and verse number 1, right? Revelation 4 and 1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. Right? So this come up hither is similar to Revelation 11th chapter. So John was taken up to the third heaven, right? He was taken up to the third heaven, and he was able to see visions and prophecies that will come in the future. That's what this means. And I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And John the Revelator saw America, man. He saw the Israelites in the dead estate. He saw the Roman Empire. He saw technology such as nuclear missiles. These are all of the things that John saw. Verse number 2. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, and sight like unto an emerald. So who did he see? He saw the Heavenly Father himself sitting on the throne. Why like a jasper and a sardine stone? Because A jasper and sardine stone are brown stones, dark brown stones, which further proves that the Most High God is a so-called black man, straight up and down, man. Let's pull up a sardine stone. You see that? So that's that brown complexion, right? That's a sardine stone. Look, they got one right here. See that? A jasper and a sardine stone. So Yahweh himself is has brown skin, for lack of better terms. He's not man like you and I, but again, we're made in his likeness and his image. So let's read on in Revelation, the 4th chapter. Revelation chapter 4, and he has a rainbow round about his throne. And the Most High, he didn't put the rainbow about his throne after the flood. The rainbow that the Most High has about his throne is before the flood. Right? Because again, remember, during the flood or post-flood, the Most High set his bow in the clouds. Right? Which is a sign of the covenant that the Most High will not destroy all flesh by the flood or by water again. But a lot of people think that that's the first time the rainbow was made. No, the rainbow has always been here. And the rainbow is actually a circle. When you read Ecclesiastes, it's the 43rd chapter. That's why it says it's round about the throne and sight like unto an emerald. Right? So let's read on. So the Most High, he got that's a bad throne right there, man. Right? Verse number 4. And round about the throne were 24 seats. And upon the seats, I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. So we read in the 5th chapter that the 24 elders, they submit and they bow to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right? We also read they had harps in their hands. Right? And we also read that they sung a new song. Now, the 24 elders represent the elect in the third heaven, right? They are a spiritual representation of the elect saints in the third heaven. How do you know that? Well, first, let's deal with this 4 and 20, this 24. Why 24? Why not 6? Why not 8? Right? Why not 9? Why 24 seats? Well, remember, the Most High, he deals heavy with numbers, man. The Most High is into numerology, right? What is numerology? Let's pull this up, right? I don't want numerology in the Bible. I just want the definition. Numerology is the mystical study of numbers, names, and dates, right? To understand personality traits and predict future events. Right? It is based on the belief that all things possess unique numerical vibrations. So essentially what it is dealing with the spiritual aspect of numbers. So 6 has a meaning in the Bible, right? 6 means what? Incompletion or destruction. 7 has a meaning in the Bible. 7 means perfection or completion. 8 has a meaning in the Bible, right? 8 means infinity or superfluous amount. You read about that in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and 1 on down. Remember, the Most High said, cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. So that number pattern of 7 to 8 represents an indefinite amount. Same thing, let's talk. Let's read it. Let's not talk about it. Right? Let's actually go into those different numbers to prove that numbers mean something with the Most High. I'm not going to get every number and break down what every number means, right? Because we could even go to the number 5, the number 4, the number 3, the number 2, the number 1. When you look at 1 through 10, every number means something by God, right? Proverbs chapter 6 and 16. We'll just deal with a few, right? To understand that 24 actually means something. It's not a random number. Proverbs 6 and 16. These 6 things doth Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. Right? So 6 represents incompletion or destruction. The 7th one makes it complete. This is a number pattern or number sequence that's used throughout the Bible. Right? 6, yea, 7. 3, yea, 4. 7, yea, 8. Verse number 17. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So you see 6 things that the Lord hates. 6 represents destruction or incompletion. Okay, let's get another precept. Let's go to Revelation, the 6th chapter. Right, this is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So the 6th seal is going to happen during the days of World War III. Blood moons, earthquakes, eclipses, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So when the 6th seal happens, what's going to befall the earth? Destruction. The stars of heaven represent the missiles falling on the earth. 6 means incompletion or destruction. Right? Why do you think the number of the beast is what it is? Right? Let's get that. We'll get one more in this number 6. Revelation chapter 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So the beast, which really represents America, when you read verse 11 on down, on the micro level, the so-called white man, his number is 666. Why 6? Because 6 represents destruction. He's the son of perdition. He's incomplete. Right? He's lacking. He can't be numbered. You know? And why is it 666? Why 3 times? Because 3 has a meaning in the Bible. And you brothers that's studying, you know that the number 3 represents emphasis in the Bible. Samuel was called 3 times. Yahushua appeared to the disciples 3 times after the resurrection. Right? What's another account? Paul prayed 3 times that the demon might depart from him. Yahushua asked Peter, lovest thou me more than these? 3 times. So that's why it's 6, 3 times, because it's complete annihilation and destruction for the beast without any hope of being salvaged or saved. So that's what 6 means. That's what 3 means. 7 means completion or perfection. Right? Let's get maybe 1 on this. Right? So we're just breaking these numbers down to lay the foundation. Right? Numbers chapter 6 and 24. It's like in Numbers. It's like you. See that? I'm in the spirit of Numbers. Joshua chapter 6 and 4. And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpets. So 7 represents completion. You got 7 priests, 7 trumpets on the 7th day, and a city being compassed 7 times. So 7 is completion or perfection. Revelation chapter 4 and 5. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. See that? So you got 7 spirits of God, a complete amount of spirits. Remember in Revelation 5, Yahushua was as a lamb slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes. 7 horns, 7 eyes, 7 priests, 7 trumpets, 7 ram's horns, compassing the city 7 times. On the 7th day, you got 7 spirits of God. So surely you understand now that 7 is a number of completion or perfection. And I also talked about 8. This Ecclesiastes, actually, I want chapter 11. Let's just get two precepts on the number 8 and we'll move on. So the number 24 actually means something. As we show you that the Most High, he deals heavily and mightily with numbers, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and 1. Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Yeah, your bread is your substance. It can be physical alms and charity. It can be the knowledge. Whatever you put out there, you're going to get it back, right? If you take care of people with the knowledge or with your finances or with alms or love and charity, you're going to get those same things when you need it. Verse 2, here's the point. Give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. So 7 is completion, 8 is beyond that. This number pattern of 7 to 8 shows that 8 represents infinity or superfluous amount, because 7 is completion and 8 is beyond that, right? Let's get this same spirit in Micah chapter 5, right? That's not meant for you to add up the number 7. Okay, the Lord said give a portion of 7 and also to 8. Okay, well, 7 plus 8, okay, it's 15. No, you don't have to think like a white man, right? Stop thinking like an Edomite, right? When you're going into this. We're Hebrews, we're Israelites, right? We have certain ways, for lack of better terms, hip talk and certain ways that we break numbers down and convey messages and points, right? So this is Micah chapter 5 and verse number 5. Micah 5 and 5. And this man shall be the peace when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces. Then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. So that same number pattern is being used. 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. Does that mean 15 people? No. It means an innumerable force that the Lord is going to use to take the so-called white man down. That's 7 shepherds, 8 principal men. So the elect are going to be used as a weapon to take down the other nations once we come down from those chariots, right? That's what the Most High said. So now you see, again, I'm not going to break down every number, right? 9, it means incompletion. 10 means a whole amount of completion. 12 is significant. See, part of understanding the number 24 is understanding the importance of 12. Let's go back to Revelation, the 4th chapter, right? Revelation chapter 4 and 4. And round about the throne were 24 seats. So let's rest right there. In order to understand the 24, you have to know the dynamic of 12, but you also have to know how the number 24 is used in the Bible. So 24 is significant as well. Let's go to First Chronicles. Right, let's go to First Chronicles. We're going to go to chapter 24. Right, the number 24 is used heavily in the Bible. Right, so this is First Chronicles chapter 24 and verse number 3. And now when you read this chapter, obviously we're not going to read the whole chapter, but when you read the chapter, you read about how King David is setting up the priesthood and different courses. He sets up the singers, he sets up the army, he sets up structure and government for the nation of Israel. Now, First Chronicles 24 concerns the priesthood, right? So this is First Chronicles chapter 24 and 3. And David distributed them, both Zadok of the sons of Eleazar and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar, according to their offices and their service. Now, these are the sons of Aaron, right? So Aaron had multiple sons. But remember, when you read the book of Leviticus, the 10th chapter, Aaron's 2 sons died when they lit strange fire, right? Nadab and I believe Abihu. I believe it tells you that. Nadab and Abihu, they lit strange fire, right? They didn't follow the statutes of how to put fire in your censer, right? So they went off. The Lord slew them. So Aaron had other sons that the Most High used for the priesthood. Now let's read on. First Chronicles 24:4. And there were more chief men found of the sons of Eleazar than of the sons of Ithamar, and thus were they divided. Among the sons of Eleazar, there were 16 chief men of the house of their fathers, and 8 among the sons of Ithamar according to the house of their fathers. So they're going to divide up the entire priesthood based off of these 16 chief men and these 8 men. What's 16 and 8? 16 and 8, basic math, that's 24, right? So you had 24 sons that came from Aaron that are going to be the foundation of the priesthood. So 24 is a prominent number. It's prominent when it comes to the priesthood. And the courses of the priest that would always minister at the altar before the Most High. The same way the 4 and 20 elders, their job is to always minister and praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And as we go back to the book of Revelation, you'll see that. They always cast their crowns, they always get off their thrones, and they always give glory and honor to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. 24/7, nonstop. The same way that these priests worked in courses in 24, and they would always praise the Most High. Right? So let's read on. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but we're going to jump down. Now let's read about these 24 courses. First Chronicles chapter 24 and verse number 7. Now the first lot came to Jehoiarib, the second to Jedaiah. So they had different lots on what responsibilities would be done in the temple on a day-to-day basis. So they would cast a lot. Who's going to be at the altar of incense? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? So that's what the priest cast lot for, right? On what service would be done in the tabernacle all the way up into the temple. So the first lot came to Jehoiarib. And why is it 24? Right? Because again, they served 1 week on, then they would be off. And then they would serve another week on, and then they would be off. So 2 weeks out of the year, you had these different courses that would leave their suburbs, come to Jerusalem, and serve in the tabernacle or the temple. Similar to now how people go on tour for the military. You got brothers that's been in the military. They did a tour in Afghanistan. They might have been there from the year 2003 to 05, and they came back home. Then they went back in 08, right? And they came back in 09. Then they did a third tour. They went in 2011 and came back in 2014. So they had different tours that they would do. So the priests, they had different courses that they would do. That way you didn't burn everybody out, because it was a burdensome job to serve in the tabernacle, right? So this was able to get all these priests in and keep people in rotation. See, nowadays, so-called white man, he has something called a swing shift, right? You got certain jobs that are very laborious where you work, 5 12-hour days, and then you're off that next week. But while you're off, the company don't shut down. They have another shift that works. Then that shift still work that week, right? And then you come back the following week. Let me pull that up. Swing shift, right? You brothers that have them hard jobs. You know what I'm talking about, right? Let's see. I believe that's swing shift most commonly refers to a work schedule that falls between day and night, typically starting in the late afternoon and ending around midnight, right? So a swing shift, essentially, you're working on and then you work off. You work on and you work off, right? You don't work 2 weeks straight, At some jobs, you work 2 weeks on, then you're off. So that's what they got that from the priesthood. The priests, they've been doing that. So let's read on about these priests. So we read about the first and second lot. The third two This First Chronicles 24 and 8. The third to Harim, the fourth to Saram, the fifth to Melchijah, the sixth to Majamin, the seventh to Hekaz, the eighth to Abijah, the ninth to Jeshua, the 10th to Shechaniah, the 11th to Eliashib, the 12th to Jocham, the 13th to Huppah, the 14th to Jeshabib, the 15th to Bilgah, the 16th to Immer, the 17th to Hezer, the 18th to Apsis, the 19th to Pethahiah, the 20th to Jehezekel, the 1 and 20th to Jachin, the 2 and 20th to Gamal, the 3 and 20th to Delaiah, the 4 and 20th to Maaziah. So you had 24 sons that came out of the sons of Aaron. And then you had, out of that, you had these 24 priest courses. 24. So one thing to know about the 4 and 20 elders is that they're always praising the Most High, day and night, 24/7. And you also had 24 priests that would always serve at the altar, nonstop, day and night, right? Nonstop, day and night. So let's get another count with the number 24. So you had divisions of the priest. Let's go to First Chronicles chapter 25, right? Now you also had the singers that served in courses, right? Let's go to First Chronicles chapter 25. I'm gonna read 1, but then I'm gonna jump down, right? This is First Chronicles chapter 25 and 1. Now this is David not just set up the priests, but he also set up the musicians and the singers that would sing and praise the Most High at the temple. First Chronicles 25 and 1. So we're breaking down that number 24 and it's showing how important it is. Even David knew how important that was to have 24 sons and the 24 courses of the priesthood. There's even 24 hours in a day. Is that by coincidence? Is that by chance? Yahweh said that there are 12 hours in a day. So you got that duality. You got 12 hours in a day and you got 12 hours at night, right? That's 24, 12 and 12. 12 is a spiritual number. The other 12 is a spiritual number. When you bring them together, it's completion on a spiritual level as well, you know? So let's read this. First Chronicles 25 and 1. Moreover, David and the captains of the host separated to the service of the sons of Asaph and of Heman and of Jeduthun, who should prophesy with harps, with psalteries, and with cymbals, and the number of the workmen according to their service was. So it begins to list the different sons that would praise the Most High with songs in the temple, right? And let's jump down for sake of time, right? We're going to jump down for sake of time. I want to get, let's see, bear with me. I want to get straight to the point. All right, here it is. Let's read verse 27. So the number of them, these are the singers, First Chronicles 25 and 7. So the number of them with their brethren that were instructed in the songs of the Lord, even all that were cunning, were 200 fourscore and 8. What is 200 fourscore and 8? 200 fourscore and 8 is 288, right? 288. What's so special about this? Well, 288 divided by the 12 months in a year that they would serve the Lord is what? 24. So every month you had 24 singers that would serve the Most High. So not only did you have 24 courses of the priest, but also every month there were 24 singers at any given time to praise Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushua. So you have the 24 elders, but you also on the earth, you have a priesthood of praise and worship on the earth. This is why the 420 elders represent the elect in the third heaven. Right now, we're touching on the fact that they're constantly praising the Most High in the heavens because the 24 was a number used to praise the Most High on the earth. Now, be mindful too that everything that Moses, David, our father set up on the earth is a direct reflection of what's being done in the third heaven. We were made to make it, we were told to make a temple on the earth. There's a temple in the third heaven. We were told to make an altar of incense on the earth. There is an altar of incense in the third heaven. There were priestly tools that were used, tongs and vials. Those things are in the third heaven. We were told to make those same things on the earth. Why do you think the Lord's Prayer? Let's get the Lord's Prayer real quick in Matthew 6. It says, "Thy will be done in heaven as it is in the earth." So the perfection of the priesthood that's done in the heavens by the angels, it's going to be done on the earth. Right? Matthew chapter 6. And let's get straight to the point. And verse number 9. It reads, "After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven." There's a throne in the third heaven. There's a king in the third heaven. The Most High gave us a king on the earth. You have angels that serve the Most High in the heavens. You have that same spirit manifest as the priest and the singers of the earth. Those 24 elders, they do it in the third heaven. The 24 courses of priests and singers, they do it on the earth. So everything that we made was a pattern of things in the third heaven. Let's go to the book of Exodus. Let's prove that further. So as we break these 24 elders down and dive into their song, right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 24, Salakia 25, and verse 9. Right, Salakia. Right? So this is Moses being given the instruction on how to build the tabernacle, right? The book of Exodus 25 and 9. "According to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it." What does that mean? When Moses went up on Mount Sinai, he wasn't up there just getting 10 laws. "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," right? "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain," right? The Most High didn't just give them 10 commandments. Remember the Sabbath day, honor your father and your mother, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. If you think Moses was up there for 40 days and 40 nights getting 10 commandments, you're sadly mistaken. He was also getting visions of the end of the world, the midst of the times, the creation, and the blueprint for things to be made on the earth. He actually saw the instruments in the third heaven, the tongs and the snuffers and the dishes and the vials. And he saw the dimensions of it and how large they were, how much they weighed, and how what the size was. He was told to make everything you see in that third heaven, make it on the earth. That's what this means. Right? Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 8. It's like Hebrews chapter 8 and verse number, I mean, this whole thing is good. Right? Let's read verse 2. Right? Hebrews chapter 8 and 2. "A minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord pitched and not man. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices. Wherefore it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer." So your high priest, he would do different sacrifices for himself and for the people. Yahweh Shah is also a high priest. He also does sacrifices, right? Ultimately, his body being a sacrifice. Verse number 4. "For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law. Here's the point: who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, said he, that thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mount. So everything that was made was an example of the heavenly things. It was a shadow. Why do you think the Spirit rested upon David to have it be 24 courses of the priesthood, 24 courses of the singers? Because it's an example and a shadow of heavenly things, of the 420 elders. Right? Let's get maybe one or two more dealing with the number 24. Right? Let's go to First Chronicles 27 and 1. Right? So we had the 24 singers by each month. We had the 24 priests. Let's go to First Chronicles 27. Right? This is First Chronicles chapter 27 and verse 1. Now the children of Israel, after their number, to wit, the chief fathers, Salakia, and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in any matter of the courses, which came in and went out month by month throughout all the months of the year, of every course were 24,000. So for 12 months in a year, you had those 24 singers, those Levites, and every month of the year you had 24,000 military men and officers that also served the king. So the number 24 is a number that's used for worship, for praising Yahweh, Bashmi Awashah. That's really what it is. Right? It's a number used for complete worship and serving Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. All right, that's what it's for. And you see that with the 24 priests, the 24 singers by month, and the 24,000 captains and soldiers that would go month by month to serve the Most High. Right? Let's get, I know I said one more, but I gotta get this precept as well. Right? First Chronicles chapter 23 and verse number 4. I'll start at 3. Here's the Levites, right? Now, the Levites were not the priests, but the Levites helped the priests when it came to working in the temple and the tabernacle. First Chronicles 23 and 3. Now, the Levites were numbered from the age of 30 years and upward, and their number by their poles, man by man, was 38,000. So you had 38,000 priests that did many things. But check this out, verse number 4. Of which, meaning out of the 38,000, of which 24,000 were set forward the work of the house of Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, and 6,000 were officers and judges. So he divided up that 38,000 to do different responsibilities, different tasks. The point I want is, it's no coincidence, as you can clearly see, that you have 24,000 that do the work in the tabernacle or in the temple, right? So that's that number 24. That's why you have 420 elders. It's a complete representation of praise and worship and serving Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. The 420 elders are a spiritual representation, an angelic representation of the elect on the earth that praise and serve the Most High. Now, there's no account of the 420 elders being made. There's no a time frame on that. They were here before man was made. See, there's no account of when the third heaven was made, when the chariots were made, when the archangels were made. If the Most High wanted us to know that, he would have told us. Well, how come we don't know? How come that's not in the Bible? Well, it's not in the Bible because the Most High didn't want it in the Bible. Who's to say you wouldn't bug out, man, if you had to hear about how the Most High created the 4 beasts and the seraphim and the cherubim and, his throne and hey, you don't need to know that, man. Man always wants to fancy his heart and go too deep into the world. Last time I checked, the Lord said, be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men understand. So it's sufficient enough for us to understand what's written. And brothers are still struggling with particular sins and demons, but yet you want to know, well, why the Most High got this number? Why did he choose 7? How can be that? Brother, worry about the spirits that you're struggling with as a priority. And any other knowledge and hidden matter, Most High willing, we get it in the kingdom of heaven and in the world to come. All right, let's get one more dealing with the number 24. Let's go to Revelation 21. Now, also, when you go through the history, you also had 24 stations that the priests, or it's like that the porters and the Levites would be stationed at, right? So you had 24 stations that the Levites would be at, right, as well. So that number 24, they were always, it was always a number used by the Most High. All right, we'll get this, then we'll move on about these 4 and 20 elders, right? We just had to harp on the numbers and what they mean and how important that is. Revelation chapter 21 and 12. It had a wall, great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, right? So you have 12 and 12 and 12, right? Verse number 13, on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city, here's the point I want, had 12 foundations, and in the names, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. You see that? So you have 12 foundations and the names of the 12 apostles. That's 12 and 12, which is 24. Now, on a deeper level, I don't want to go too far into this, but a brother should automatically, most I want to think of a precept. He should be thinking of the priest. Remember the priest, he had what on his breastplate? What did the priest have? Let me pull this up. The priest breastplate. Levi. Let's do high priest. Slakia. Breastplate. Remember, he had the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Right? Let's put this up, 12 tribes. So here's the just balance with Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. Right? Let's see if I can get this. I wanted to see it in English. Right? Let's see. All right, that's all right. Right? You get the point, right? The point is, the priest had 12 stones, which, and on him he had the who? He had the 12 names of the sons of Jacob, right? So he was dealing with the number 24 too. The high priest was always dealing with the number 24 because he's the ultimate servant to praise and worship the Most High. He had 12 stones and the 12 tribes written. That's in the Old Testament. To have a just balance, that same dynamic is in the New Testament. You got the 12 foundations and the 12 apostles. So you got 24 in the Old Testament and you got 24 in the New Testament, right? Let's see if I can get that in the book of Exodus. Then we'll move on. I believe that's Exodus 28, right? This Exodus chapter 28. And let me get this for sake of time. Here it is in verse 21. And the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet. Everyone with his name shall they be according to the 12 tribes. So you had 12 and 12, that's 24. You had 12 stones and 12 tribes on the high priest. In the New Testament, we have another high priest, Yahushua. And then his kingdom, right? You have 12, which really represents the elect. You're going to have 12 foundations with the 12 apostles. That's 12 and 12, 24. Right? So now we have a clear understanding in Revelation, the 4th chapter. Why is it 4 and 20 elders? Because 24 has a meaning, the same way we showed you 6 has a meaning, the same way 7 has a meaning, 8, 9, 10, 3, 12, 4, and 20 represents a complete amount of praising the Most High and worshiping and serving the Most High, right? That's what it means. The 4 and 20 elders are a angelic representation of the elect on the earth, right? And we'll further prove that as we read on, right? The Lord said, prove all things. And we're going to touch on their song too. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 4, right? Revelation chapter 4 and verse number 9. Revelation chapter 4 and verse 9. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, the 4 and 20 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. So let's break down the attributes of these 4 and 20 elders, right? Well, first of all, the 4 and 20 elders, they have thrones, right? They have thrones. That's what this means. They fell down. Where are they falling from? From their thrones, right? Let's get this. Let's read that in Revelation 4 and 4. And round about the throne were 4 and 20 seats. See, those seats ain't, they're not sitting in the high chair like your 2-year-old nephew, man. You know, it doesn't mean that they're sitting in the car seat. What kind of seat are they sitting in? They're sitting on thrones. How do you know that? Let's go to the Greek. Right? See, the word seats in the Greek is thronos, which means thrones. Here it is. A throne seat, a chair of state having a footstool, assigned in the New Testament to kings, hence kingly power or what? Or royalty. So what's further proof that the 4 and 20 elders represent the elect saints on the earth is that they sit on thrones. There were thrones promised to the saints on the earth as well. Let's get that in Psalms chapter 122, right? Psalms chapter 122. So everything about these 4 and 20 elders, they fulfill the promises of what the elect are going to get. Everything that they do, it's what the elect are doing, right? Psalms chapter 122 and verse 5. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. So yes, you're going to have Yahushua in his throne, sitting on the throne of David. Remember, you're also going to have what? 12 thrones. One for Peter, John, James, Andrew, Thomas, Philip, Nathaniel, Simon, Matthias, etc. You're going to have 12 thrones for the 12 apostles. You're going to have other thrones, right? For other members of the 144,000. Those are set thrones. You have thrones for the elect on the earth, and you have thrones in the third heaven. Kingly power and royalty. So the 4 and 20 elders sitting upon thrones is a representation of the power that's going to be given to the elect that they're going to have on the earth. Now, what's something else about them? Right? Revelation 4 and 4 again. And round about the throne were 4 and 20 seats. And upon the seats I saw 4 and 20 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. Now, why do they have white raiment on? Does that have anything to do with the saints? Yes. Because what are the saints going to be clothed upon when they overcome? They're going to be clothed in white raiment. White raiment represents what? Purity, holiness, cleanliness, without spot and without blemish. So the reason that the 24 elders have white raiment is, again, it's a representation of what the elect are going to have on a spiritual level when they also overcome, which further proves that they are a spiritual representation of the saints on the earth. Right? Let's get the white raiment. Let's go to Revelation, the 7th chapter. Right? So it's not a coincidence that they have white raiment. They're sitting on thrones. They have crowns on their heads. Right? It's 24 of them. We broke the number 24 down. We broke down why they have thrones. Now we're breaking down why they have white raiments. Revelation chapter 7 and verse number 13. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto them, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Now check this out. Who is this talking about? This is the innumerable multitude, the 1/3, who have overcome Jacob's trouble, persecution, Armageddon, the famine, economic collapse, madness, and wickedness on the earth. They were beamed up and they have overcome. They've washed their garments from sin and filthiness with the blood of the Lamb. Verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him night and day in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. See, that's reminiscent to the 24 elders. Don't the 24 elders sit before the throne of God and serve him night and day? And they wear white raiment. But now you have the elect. And they're going to serve the Most High night and day in the kingdom of heaven. Right? And they're going to be before the throne of the Most High. And they're going to bow down before the Most High. Everything that the 420 elders do all day, every day before man was created is a foreshadowing and representation of what the elect are doing and what they're going to do in the world to come. That's what they have white raiment on, the elect, and they're going to serve the Most High day and night. Right? Let's get Revelation 19, dealing with the white raiment. Yahushua said, I counsel of thee to buy of me a gold tried in the fire and white raiment. Right? Revelation chapter 19 and verse number 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. The marriage of the Lamb is the union between the bride and Yahushua. Who's the bride? The elect. How is the wife making herself ready? By repenting. Right? By fasting, by praying, through exhortation, through the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, to perfect the bride. Right? Let's read on. Verse 8. And to her it was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So the 24 elders wearing white raiment is a representation for the righteousness of saints. They're not actually the saints, but they wear white, which shows that they have washed their robes, and that's their righteousness that comes from them overcoming, right? So again, and we're being redundant at this point because again, we're constantly showing you different attributes of the 420 elders and how they correlate directly to the children of Israel. Let's see something else about the 420 elders, right? So we broke down why is it 24? We broke down that they have thrones. We broke down why they have white raiment. And now let's break down one more thing or two, right? They also have crowns of gold. Why crowns of gold? Well, surely it represents the elect overcoming and getting crowns. Let's get that in 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. So the men that overcome the straight and narrow, destruction, famine, etc., the guillotine, right? FEMA camps, martial law, they're going to be given a crown of righteousness. That's why the 420 elders have crowns. They have crowns the same reason they have white garments on, right? It's because it's a representation of the elect overcoming, right? In the third heaven. Let's get another precept on crowns. Let's go to Revelation, the second chapter. I don't want the first chapter. Right? We all know, or we should know, if not, you know it today, Revelation 2 and 10. Okay? Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that's another precept showing that the crown of life is given to the elect. The white raiment, which is the righteousness of the saints on the marriage day, is given to the elect. The set thrones for the house of David is given to the elect. The fact that they always praise and worship the Most High, it's the same thing the elect are going to be doing. The fact that it's 24 shows that the 24 priest courses, the 24 singers, the 24,000, all of that goes into serving and worshiping the Most High. That's what 24 represents, right? Now, let's go back to Revelation, the 4th chapter, okay? Because I want to get into their song too, right? That's the point. I want to get into their song. So, Revelation chapter 4 and verse number 10. The 420 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne and worship him. See that? That same worship that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For thou hast created all things, for thy pleasure they are and were created. And why do they cast their crowns? Meaning they take their crowns off and they throw it before the Lord. Because that's symbolic for every knee bowing down to Yahweh Shah. See, we're going to have crowns in the kingdom, most high willing, we make it. The Lord has mercy on us. But our crowns are spiritually cast before Yahweh Shah, because he's the one that gave us the crowns. You know, we're all going to bow down before Yahweh Shah anyway, man. That's essentially to your crown, you taking your crown off and bowing down slightly before the Lord. You know? Philippians chapter 2 and verse number 9. Wherefore the Most High also hath highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. Who's this talking about? Yahweh Shah. Verse number 10. That at the name of Yahweh Shah, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. And that every tongue should confess that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is Lord, to glory of God the Father. So the 420 elders cast their crowns because they're bowing down. That's what the elect are going to do. Everybody's going to bow down before Yahweh Shai. That's plain, right? Now let's go to Revelation, the 5th chapter, right? And let's go back to verse number, let's read 8, okay? Revelation chapter 5 and 8. And when they had taken the book, it's like, and when he had taken the book, meaning Yahweh Shah took the book sealed with the 7 seals, the 4 beasts and 420 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Now you see that? So these aren't actually literal men, because literal men don't offer up the prayers of the saints. These are spirits. These 420 elders are spirits. You know, they're immortal spirits, angels, if you can understand. Now, what they do is they praise the Most High with their harps, and harps also represent prophecy. We read that in First Chronicles 25:1. And they have golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. So when you're throwing up your prayers to the Most High, keep throwing those prayers up, man. Those prayers don't just vanish in the wind. They don't just disappear. Those prayers are brought up before the angels. And those angels, once they bring those prayers up, those prayers are being withheld. And at set times, those prayers are offered up, and the Lord answers those prayers, right? Now, a golden vial is essentially a golden bowl. See if I could get let's see, Levitical golden bowl, right? See if they give a picture. A vial is a bowl. It's the same thing, right? See that? So these are the vials, right? And inside, see, the bowl in the ancient world was used for holding on to the blood. A lot of priests, they would dip their finger in the blood. They would have a bowl, and they would use the bowl for other services in the tabernacle. It's similar to the vial. So they would have the 420 elders, they have these golden vials or bowls, and within them is incense, right? So there's smoke coming up, which represents the prayers of the saints, right? See that? So the first picture was the best one, right? See, a vial is a bowl, right? They go hand in hand. Let me see if they actually got, they may not have anything with the etymology because it may be straight to the point, right? Let's see, vial. Small glass bottle for holding liquids, a vial, right? Let's see. A vial, a flask. It's similar like a bowl or a bottle, right? Let's get Numbers, the 7th chapter. They're essentially the same thing. I believe this is what I want, right? Let's go to Numbers chapter 7 and verse number 13. Here's what the priest dedicated the tabernacle with, right? Or the princes of the different tribes, right? Here's what they dedicated the tabernacle with. Let's see one of the things that they gave. Numbers chapter 7 and verse number 12. And he that offered his offering the first day was Nahshon, the son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah. And his offering was 1 silver charger. The weight thereof was 130 shekels. 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. Both of them were full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. So they offered spoons and bowls and things of that nature. So they would use this bowl for spiritual service. Let's go to Tobit 12 and 15, right? Because it said that they also had the prayers of the saints. Remember, your prayers are being taken up by the angels of God. That's every prayer. If you believe, your prayer is being carried by the angels. Tobit chapter 1, Slakia. Tobit chapter 12 and verse number 15. I am Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. So Raphael, one of the chief archangels, and there are other angels that work under him and or with him. Their sole responsibility is to record your prayers and take those prayers up before the Most High. Biblically, historically, a lot of our prayers were done at the hour of prayer. At the time of the evening sacrifice, a lot of Israel would throw those prayers up, and that's the time that the incense would be lit, right? So the incense ascending and your prayers ascending, they go hand in hand because they were done at the same time, that evening sacrifice. And let's get that in the book of Luke, right? Because brothers may not be familiar with that. Let's go to Luke 1 and 10, right? See that? Here it is. We'll start at 9, right? Luke chapter 1 and verse number 9. According to the custom of the priest office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. Who's this? John the Baptist's father. He's one of the descendants of those 24 priests of Ithamar or Eleazar. And he had to burn the incense. Now check this out, verse number 10. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. So massive amount of Israelites would come to the temple and they would pray at the hour of prayer, which is the ninth hour. The ninth hour in today's time would be 3 p.m. Okay? It would be roughly 3 p.m. That would be the ninth hour. Your first hour is 6 a.m. Your third hour is 9 a.m. Your sixth hour is 12 p.m. Your ninth hour is 3 p.m., right? That's the time of incense and the time of the evening sacrifice. So prayer and incense go hand in hand. Let's get another one. Let's go to Psalms, chapter 141. This is Psalms chapter 141 and verse number 1. Yahweh, Bashmel Shai, I cry unto thee. Make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So your prayer is like incense smoke going up. When you lift up your hands and bow your head down, it's a spiritual sacrifice. That's why it's so important to pray. Right? Yahushua said that. He said, men ought always to pray and faint not, because your prayers are being taken up by the angels, like Raphael. Think about that, man. Imagine you praying and Raphael is right next to you. And he takes that prayer up before the Most High. You might think that's impossible, but it happened to Tobit, man. Tobit was praying, and Raphael came and he was down there doing his thing, man. You know? Now, this is Luke chapter 18 and verse number 1. I wanted to just get this. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not faint. A lot of brothers fall out because they don't pray as often as they need to. A lot of sisters, you fall out because you do not pray as often as you need to. You praying is your direct power source to the Most High. If you don't plug in your phone, over time, the battery's going to drain out. It's going to decrease. It might be at 90%, then 50, then 20, then 5. It's going to die. You got to plug in that phone. You got to keep it charged. You praying to the Most High is keeping your spirit charged. You not praying, your battery is only going down. You're going to not read. You're not going to study. You're going to go back in the world, and you're going to be the worst individual that you ever was. Worse than who you were before you came into the truth. That's written. So now we understand that they have golden vials with the prayers of the saints, right? Now, once they have these golden vials, the angel actually takes these prayers and he offer them upon the altar of incense. Okay, let's get that in Revelation chapter 8. So once your prayers are taken up, it's in the hands of the 420 elders, and it's taken at the altar of incense. This is Revelation chapter 8 and verse number 3. Let's read that, right? Revelation chapter 8 and 3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. See that? So the angels have those prayers and they're brought before the Most High, and the Lord has the altar of incense. Okay, let's go back to Revelation chapter 5. So these are things that are happening in the spiritual realm, right? On the spiritual realm, these things are happening. Revelation chapter 5 and verse number 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. Now, you would think, well, hold on. If the 420 elders are a spiritual representation of the elect on the earth, how are they being redeemed out of different lands and different nations? Well, this further proves to the point that these aren't actual men. They're speaking on behalf of the church. That's why they have white raiments on. That's why they have golden crowns on. That's why they have golden vials with the prayers of the saints. Because the elect are going to be redeemed out of every blood and kindred and tongue and people and nation. Let's read on in verse 10. And has made us into our God, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Who's the we? Is it literally these 420 elders? No. It's speaking about the church, the elect. They're going to reign on the earth. How do you know that these kings and priests are talking about men and not these 420 elders, which are angels? Well, who was always called the kings and priests? Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Who was always called the nation of kings and priests? Right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse number 6. It reads, And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. See that? And an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So there's only one class of people that have always been a nation of kings and priests. Those are the Israelites. Right? Plain as day. They're set up, we're created as a nation of people to enforce and to teach the Creator's laws and judgments to the other nations on the earth. Right? So that's our function as a people. Right now, we're working on getting ourselves right and teaching our people who they are, how to repent, who Yahweh Shai is, etc. But in the world to come, we're not going to teach every man his neighbor, saying, Know the Lord. For all shall know the Most High from the least to the greatest. Our focal point at that point is now putting the nations in order and subjecting them to the Heavenly Father's laws and commandments. That's why we're a nation of kings and priests. Okay? Now, the Lord said that we're going to be redeemed out of every blood and kindred and tongue and people and nation. Let's prove that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, to prove that we were scattered in all nations. Right? This is Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way before them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. So we were scattered abroad. You got Israelites literally just about in every country in the earth. China, Japan. I see these videos of how they treat Jake in Japan, man. How they treat Jake in China. They cover their nose. They discriminate against them, man. And they grab up on their hair and they damn torture them, man. They catch hell out there. We're all over the earth. We've been removed into all kingdoms. But the song of the 24 elders says that we're going to be redeemed out of every tongue and nation and people on the earth. Let's go to the book of Matthew to prove that, chapter 24. Right? Matthew chapter 24 and verse number 30. Right? Matthew chapter 24 and 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So if the Lord is coming to save everybody, why is all of the nations mourning? Because they know that their kingdom is up. Verse number 31 is the point. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So the elect, they're going to have the white robes. They're going to get crowns on their heads. They're going to cast their crowns. They're going to praise the Most High, right? And they're going to serve the Most High on a spiritual level, just like the 4 and 20 elders or the 24 elders. So they're gathered out of every nation and tongue and people. You know, that's what this means. I'm going to read this part one more time. In Revelation 5 and 9, the latter part of the precept. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood. This is the redemption. We've been redeemed. When you redeem something, you buy it back, right? Like you might buy some clothes, right? And you keep the receipt. Let's say you spent $70, right? You go before wherever you go. Let's say you go to damn I don't know, Target. Here's my receipt, right? You give them your receipt, and they give you back your $70, right? That's a redemption, you know. Or you turn in those clothes that you use and say, hey, look, I don't like these. I want my redemption. You show up with your receipt, the clothes that you had, and you get back the full price. You get back your $70. See, we as a nation of people, we were sold. And I'm not just talking about literally sold to the so-called white man. Although that did happen, victims of various slave trades on a spiritual level is what I want to address. We were sold under sin. Now we've been redeemed from sin into liberty to serve Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai, and which we call grace. We're also going to be redeemed physically from this captivity. And we're also going to be redeemed from these bodies, which are chains and darkness. So our redemption is on a threefold level. One, we're liberated from sin, and we are no longer put to death for sins that were punishable by death. On a second level, we're going to be redeemed from this captivity, from Babylon the Great, and wherever we're scattered at. On a third level, our redemption is going to be by means of being delivered from these bodies and these bodies of death. So our redemption is on a trifold level, right? Now, I want to get one precept on our redemption, right? That we were purchased with the blood of Yahweh Shai. Let's go to Acts, right? The 20th chapter, right? This is Acts chapter 20 and verse number 28. It reads, take heed, therefore, unto yourselves and to all the flock over the which the Holy Spirit hath made you overseers, to feed the church of the Most High, which he hath purchased with his own blood. So we were bought by the blood of Yahweh Shai. And we were bought to the Heavenly Father. That's the adoption, right? So when you go out and you want to adopt some person in the world, you got to go through a process, right? You got to fill out the paperwork. You got to pay certain fees, then you can purchase that child. See, the Most High, the only currency that he wanted to use is the blood of his son, Yahweh Shai. Why the blood of Yahweh Shai? Because the blood of Yahweh Shai is the ultimate currency. Coins and paper money and fiat currency and Federal Reserve notes, what they call that? Bitcoin. There's no life in those things. Those things are dead and they're corruptible. There is life in the blood of Yahweh Shai. So if I'm dead and I'm redeemed by carnal money, there's no value in that. But if I'm dead and I'm redeemed by something that has life, then there is value in that. And we find our value in the fact that we were redeemed by something that's living and not something that's dead. Animal sacrifices were already dead when they were offered up. Yahweh Shai is a living sacrifice who constantly makes intercession for our sins. That's the importance of being purchased by the blood of Yahweh Shai. So when the 4 and 20 elders say that, they're speaking on behalf of the elect who are bought back by the blood of the Lord. Right, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Right, let's get another precept on the redemption. And really, these Christians, these people don't know the Bible, because ask a Christian, next time you brothers, you on the highways and byways, here's something that you ask these Christians. Ask them, what is redemption in the law? Ask them, who has the right of redemption in the law? Ask him that. When I would have asked him, you got to know the law. So in the right of redemption, it has to be an Israelite, right? Primarily, and it starts with the nearest of kin. Now you have other options that can transpire, but the nearest of kin has to redeem that brother. So why would it make sense for Yahweh Shah to redeem some heathen, some stranger, instead of the Israelites, man? It makes no sense. The redemption is for your nearest of kin. Who's Yahweh Shah's kin? Israelites. So that shows that these Christians, they don't even know the law of redemption. What is a redemption? Who is the law of redemption given to? It wasn't given to some white man, some Edomite, man. You know? But I digress, right? I want to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And bear with me. I want to get this. I may have to pull this up for sake of time. It may be the 6th chapter. Right? Let's see if I can get this. Bear with me. Let me get this for sake of time. It's like I want to get this. Right? In the book of, I believe this is 1 Corinthians. I may have looked right over it. Right? Let's get this in 1 Corinthians. Kind of looking right over it. Chapter 7 and 23. It reads, ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men. See that? So we're bought with a price. So guess what? When you're bought, you're a possession. You buy a car, your car can't do what it want to do, man. You know, your car can't just say, you know what, man, the hell with you. I know you got to go to work today, but I'm going to do my own thing. I want to hit the open road and feel the air. No, your car has to obey you. You bought that car, man. And your shoes can't get up and say, you're not wearing me today, man. And if you want to wear those shoes to the ground, you could beat them shoes till they start talking, man. And you can wear those shoes for 2 years straight, man. Those shoes are your possession. We're the possession of Yahweh Shah. We were bought with a price. We are the possession of Yahweh Shah. We have been redeemed, right? I want to go into that Greek word redeemed, right? Let's go into this. We have been redeemed. And I may get that in the law, right? I talked about it. To be in the marketplace. Now, here's the word in the Greek, Slakia. Agorazo, right? Agorazo, like agora. Agora means market, like agoraphobia or agoraphobia. It means to do business, to buy or sell, right? Of idle people to haunt the marketplace, to lounge there. So essentially, redeem means to buy, right? To buy something back. That's what it means, right? The law of redemption. Now, I want to get this in Proverbs. Like I said, I didn't plan on going into this precept, but I want to get this. I believe this is Proverbs 23, the Redeemer. Right? The Lord said, enter not into the fields of the fatherless. Right? Here it is, Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 10. Remove not the old landmark and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. Who was given the law of the landmark? The Israelites. Deuteronomy 19. Who was given the fields? Right? And who are the fatherless? The Israelites. The Lord is saying to these other nations, don't rob and destroy my people. Why? For their Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. Who's our Redeemer? Yahweh Shah. How can he be a Redeemer for a Chinese man? What happens if a nation enters into your landmark? That means they remove your landmark. That means they stole your land. If they enter into your field, they stole your field. You can't redeem it because you were taken captive. You can't redeem it because you're in bondage. The only one that can redeem you is your nearest of kin, which is Yahweh Shah. That's why it says, for their Redeemer is mighty. So being redeemed is being bought back and delivered from a state of basement, being debased from a lower state, if you will, right? That's redemption. I had another precept in mind. Most High willing it comes back, but it says the Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. All right. So now you get the point about what it means to be redeemed. It means to be bought back, right? When you can't pay that bond, when you can't pay that fee, when you're locked up, when you're in captivity, the only one that can free you is our Lord Yahweh. Right? That's what that means. He shall plead their cause with thee. Let's go back to Revelation, the 5th chapter. Right? Let's go back to this. This is Revelation chapter 5 and verse number 10. And has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So another part of the song of the 420 elders is not only are we going to be kings and priests, but we're going to reign on the earth. What does it mean to reign? Right? Let's also go into that word. What does it mean to reign on the earth? Hold the royal office, rule as king or queen. Here's some synonyms: to be king, be a monarch, be sovereign, sit on the throne, the period during which a sovereign rules. Right? What is the meaning of the word reign? To possess or exercise sovereign power or authority, to prevail. See that? That's like our name, Israel, Yasha'Allah. Right? For as a prince hast thou prevailed. Right? Govern, rule, obey. So when you're set up in the world to come, you're going to reign on the earth. Now, I'm going to say this. Are you just going to tell the nations, hey, listen to me? Don't you know that these nations are going to buck up? They're not going to be complicit. You're going to have to beat these nations down. You're going to have to force them to submit. These nations don't believe in Yahweh Shah, man. They hate you, man. They despise you. They're not just going to bow down because you said bow down. We're going to have to put in work. Right? When we're reigning on the earth, we're going to force them to submit to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Right? Let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. Right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. They're going to be forced to submit to Yahweh Shah. This Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse number, this whole thing is good. I'm going to start at 17. It reads, he shall take to helm his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. So this is what the Most High is going to do with us, Lord. See, we're the creature. The Most High is the creator. He's going to turn us into an actual weapon of revenge. An actual weapon. You got people saying, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take the nations down. I kind of just want to talk them and to put in you want to talk the Moabite man to stop eating dog. You're going to talk to the Ishmaelite, look, please stop serving that rock god, Allah. You're going to talk to the Hamite, please stop drinking piss and blood, man. You want to tell the Edomites, please stop being homosexual. You think they're going to listen to you, man? No, man. You're going to be a weapon, and you're going to inflict pain on these nations. In order to reign on the earth, you're going to have to inflict pain on these other nations. You're going to be a weapon. Verse number 18. He shall put on righteousness as a breastplate and true judgment instead of an helmet. He shall take holiness for an invincible shield. His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Hold on. So who's the world? The world is the world of Israel. Who are they going to fight with? They're going to fight with Yahweh Shah. Against who? The unwise. Who's the unwise? The people who refuse to keep the laws and the commandments. So we're going to have spiritual power, man. You're going to have spiritual power. Now, there's no details about what that power is going to be like. There's no detail. And the Most High may give you the spirit to fly, man. To cast lightning down. What do you think they get these superheroes from? and the powers they have. Esau would like to have those things. He wished there was a Superman, man. He ain't no damn Superman. He wished there was a Flash. You know? See, he sees how strong Samson was, and he wants to emulate that. He sees how fast Elijah was. He wants to emulate that, man. We're going to have true powers as we fight against the unwise, and we're going to do a military conquest. Right? Let's pull this up real quick. Right? There's going to be like the days of Joshua, where he went and did a military campaign. The elect are going to do the same thing in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to go from land to land. And the so-called white man did that, man. Did he not have the seed to shining seed manifest destiny? We're going to get beamed back down in the land of Israel. And from that point on, we're going to get the green light to take these other nations down. We're going to travel. We're not going to, catch an airplane, man. Get a boat. And the Most High may put us in a chariot, man. He may give us the power to teleport. But we have to go to Europe. Because there are going to be deep underground military bases in Europe. There are going to be holds in Europe. Switzerland is a main place surrounded by mountains. A lot of Edomites is going to be there, man. See, certain parts of Europe are going to be affected with World War III and the bombs, but other parts, and we're going to have to go hunt them out. And we're going to have to go to the land of Moab, man. We're going to have to find those Moabites and put them in captivity. Hey, you may have certain brothers that get divided up, and they're going to have to go to the land of Ham, Africa, and round up all them Africans, man. We're going to have to subdue the entire earth. Let's go to Psalms chapter 2 real quick, man. That's part of reigning on the earth. It's subduing the earth. Psalms chapter 2 and verse number 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Here it is, Jake asking for a car, asking to win the lottery. The Most High said, if you would have asked me for the heathen, I would have gave you the heathen. I can give you the uttermost parts of the earth, and you asking and begging and crying over a job, over crumbs. The Most High wants to give you the earth. Just ask. Verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And that's literal, man. We're going to literally break these nations down. That's what the 420 elders were singing about. Reigning on the earth and breaking these nations down. Right? Let's go to the book of let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and 20. It reads, his severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds, as from a well-drawn bow, shall they fly to the mark. What does that mean? The right aiming thunderbolts are lasers that are going to come from the clouds. The clouds are the chariots. So when we fight these other nations, it's going to be chariots hovering over our head as we begin to reign on the earth. Now, that's nothing new. Remember, Judas Maccabees got to experience that. He got to fight, and they were chariots that put a force field around them and blinded the enemies of Israel. Verse number 22. And hailstones full of wrath shall be cast out of a stone bow, as out of a stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them, and the flood shall cruelly drown them. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand up against them, and like a storm shall blow them away. Thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth, and ill dealings shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. So the whole earth is going to be wasted. Why? Because of sin. That's what that means. Thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth. Because of men's sins, you're going to have a violent overthrow in the earth. And because of men's ill dealings and wickedness, that's what's going to be the cause for their thrones to be overthrown. Right? Their thrones are going to be overthrown. Let's go to Psalms chapter 18, right? Psalms chapter 18. I want that spiritual power, man. And when I look at these Edomites, man, all we're thinking about is vengeance. Now, I'll say this too. I got every brother, more than likely some brothers, you might not. You got that one Edomite, that one heathen that you want to be in your slave field. I got one I'm thinking about right now, man. I got two. You know, right off the top of the head. And there's more, man. You got to think about all these Edomites, man. Even historically, who wouldn't want to put George Washington on a plantation? Thomas Jefferson, Alexander the Greek, Antiochus Epiphanes IV, Pontius Pilate, Herod, Agrippa, Tiberius, Nero, Vespasian, Titus, Domitian, Bush, Clinton, Biden. So that's the stuff that keep that fire burning in me, man. The fact that we're going to put these nations down. And they are going to be in captivity, man. The Most High said, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. This Psalms chapter 18. So we're going to give these nations work, man. Psalms chapter 18 and verse number, let's start at, this whole thing is good. Psalms chapter 18 and verse number 37. I have pursued mine enemies and have overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. So David is really speaking in the future. Psalms 18 is a future prophecy. It's about going through Jacob's trouble, going through tribulation, going through hell, Yahweh Shah redeeming you, you coming down and you giving these nations hell. Like I said, I got a few Edomites I'm thinking of, man. I got Edomites from today's time. I got Edomites from back then. I got a few Edomites I'm thinking about from the Middle Ages. And I got Edomites I'm thinking about from the Roman Empire, man, from the Greek Empire. You know? Hey, man, look, man, we're gonna open their mouth, we're gonna check their teeth. We're gonna see if they're strong. We're gonna sell them. They're gonna get beat. Now, guess what? That's also part of the gospel. Yeah, bro, that's not part of the gospel. Get back to the lesson. And it is part of the lesson, man. I don't want to talk about that. Well, if you don't want to talk about it, it's a problem, right? If you offended, that's a damn shame. Did the 420 elders say that we're not going to reign on the earth? How do you think we're going to reign on the earth? You think we're going to just kind of share the earth with the so-called white man? Okay, Esau, you can reign over here, and we're going to kind of reign over here. Let's do trade. Let's make a pop. No. We got to break their whole kingdom down. That's how we're going to reign on the earth. Let me read this again. Psalms 18 to 37. I have pursued mine enemies and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. I have wounded them, that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me with strength unto the battle. Thou hast subdued under me those that rose up against me. Thou hast also given me the nets of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. Damn. See, David, man. Remember, man, David gave Joab the green light. See, everybody talks about David, little boy David, the shepherd boy, little boy David slew Goliath, little boy David played the Psalms. And you know where that philosophy comes from, little boy David, and he's little baby Jesus. That's the so-called white man being a child molester and a pedophile. Right? Everybody has to be a little baby and a little boy. The angels are little naked babies. Yahweh Shah is always baby Jesus with Mother Mary. David's always a little boy. He always wants grown men with spiritual power to be little boys and emasculate them. David's not just little boy David who played the harp. David sent Joab on a military mission to kill the so-called white men, the Edomites, for 6 months. Ain't no little boy David. That's King David. Let me get that, right? First Kings. All that little boy David and no, man. Right? Let him grow up, man. Right? Stop putting David from the age of he can only be from damn 10 years old to 13 years old, man. Right? This is First Kings chapter 11 and 15. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was going up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. Well, but I thought the Lord loved everybody. Why were they there for 6 months, killing all of the so-called white men? This is what you call, today they would call this a war crime. This would be all over the news. This would be public news, similar to what the state of Israel is doing to the Palestinians. See, they're doing it in the wickedness against God. This was for the Most High. 6 months and ethnic cleansing on the Edomites. That's what David is talking about, huh? Let's read on in Psalms 18 and 40. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. So you're going to have heathen crying out to be saved, but they're not going to be saved. Why won't the Christians deal with these verses? Why won't they deal with the prophecy? Who are the people crying out? His enemies, the heathen. So what this is saying is, when the elect come down out of the chariots and are taking the nations down, they're going to be calling upon the Most High to save them. The Lord ain't going to save them. Verse 42. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. And you're going to literally beat them as small as the dust. That's literal. Imagine beating a Hamite with your bare hands. And you ain't going to cut your knuckles. Your hand ain't going to swell up. What if I break my... You ain't going to break your knuckles. You're going to have spiritual power. And you're literally going to beat him down to the dust. Not to the white meat show. So his bones are there. Then he's going to crave his bones in with your fist, and it's going to turn into dust. Then you're going to shake the dust with your feet. You might not believe that. I believe that. That's a hell of a whooping, man. A beat down. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. Thou hast delivered me from the strivings of the people, and hast made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I know not shall serve me. So who are the people that we know not? The heathen. Why don't we know them? Because they're the strangers. They serve other gods. They break the laws. They're foreigners to the promises and the covenants. David said, these heathen that I'm not familiar with, I know for one thing, they're going to serve me. When we reign on the earth, we're going to be served by the other nations. They're going to be our servants. They're going to get your food. They're going to clean your house. That's if you let them in your house. That might be up to you, man. You might have a house where you got heathen that come and clean it. Then you might have a house that's just yours, man, that nobody's allowed in. Then you might have a house where other brothers and sisters can come and congregate. You know? You're going to have filled hands. This is part of the kingdom, huh? This is part of reigning on the earth. A people who we don't know, they're going to serve us. And every brother, look, man, I like different fruits, man. I like mangoes. I like plums, apples, man. Watermelon. I got a watermelon, you know, honeydew. I like sweet potatoes, man. Certain vegetables, man. You know, nice cut of beef, steak, lamb, venison. Guess who's going to be getting all that food for us, man? These heathen. There's no HR department. There's no time off. No PPE. No what else these devils get, man? No benefits. No maternity leave. You know? They're going to be out there, man. And we're not going to manufacture suntan lotion. Ain't no SPF 3000. They're going to be caught out there. And they're going to serve us. Let's read on. I kind of don't want to read the next verse. I kind of want to talk about this for the next 8 hours, about how the heathen are going to serve us, man. Let's read on. Psalms 18:44. As soon as they hear me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. You hear that? As soon as they hear you, they're going to obey you. They might hear your footsteps. They're going to shut up. They're going to put their head down and they're going to work harder. The stranger shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. It is the Most High that avengeth me, and subdueth the people under me. So again, part of reigning on the earth is being avenged. The Most High is going to avenge us. And he's going to subdue the people under us. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8. Right, that's part of the song of the 420 elders, reigning on the earth. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse number 14. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and 14. I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject unto me. What does that mean, setting the people in order? It means you're going to have to put all of the Moabites with the Moabites. All of the Edomites are going to be with the Edomites. Now remember, the Most High made 18 nations of people. And we're not going to mix the nations up. All of the sons of Foot, they're going to be with the sons of Foot. All of the sons of Cush, they're going to be with the sons of Cush. All of the sons of Mizraim, Martezarium, the Egyptians, they're going to be with the Egyptians, man. And all of the sons of Canaan, they're going to be with the Canaanites. Everybody's going to get put back in their respective land. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and let's read verse number 7. Actually, verse 8. Right? This Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So the Most High has boundaries for different nations. Everybody's going to have landmarks. Here's where the Edomites are going to dwell at. Here's where the Hamites are going to dwell. And you're not going to have intermingling and all of these madness is going on, man. I seen the Edomite with a damn Hamite, man. No, the Edomites are going to be with the Edomites. And every other nation. And we're going to put the nations, that's what this means. We're going to put them in order. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take time to put them in order. Hey, man, you might be in the land of Ham, putting the Hamites in order. Then a Hamite pick up a piece of damn mud, and he might want to try to throw it at you, man. The angel's going to block it, and you're going to turn around, and you're going to see that Hamite, man. And you're going to have to beat these people, man. And they're going to be getting stoned. Let me get Isaiah chapter 60. Let's prove that. Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Remember, they're not going to have spiritual bodies. They're not going to have the laws in their inward parts. Isaiah chapter 60 and 12. That's what I want. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. It's a get down or lay down when we reign on the earth. We're going to have a totalitarian government. We're going to have a police state. Now, the nations, they're going to have a hard bondage for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, they're going to loosen their bondage a little bit, but they're still going to be in subject to the sons of God. And if they don't comply, they're going to get judged for it. When we reign on the earth, you're not going to be allowed to do what the hell you want to do, man. You're not going to be able to be a damn homosexual, man. We're not going to have a tolerant government. We accept different religions. Everybody's going to serve the Most High. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 66. And if we catch you thinking about another God, we're going to know about that too. We're going to be able to read your mind. Remember, Yahushua was able to read people's minds, man. Yahushua could control the elements. He could control the wind and the sea. Right? This Isaiah, I had a precept in mind. 66 and 23, Salakia. Isaiah chapter 66 and 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. So every new moon, every Shabbat, everybody's going to have to come down outside the gates and bow down to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. Now you can say, I'm not going up. You might have a Cushite that say, man, I ain't going up today, man. I'm resting. They've been whooping my ass. I've been working hard. I'm not going this week. A Cushite might say that, man. I'll go next week. Okay, what's going to happen if the Cushite, he's going to be made a public example. He's going to be made an example. And you're going to have brothers over these different nations. You might have a brother over the Cushites. And you're going to count, hold on, I'm supposed to have 4,352 and 22 Cushites, and I'm missing one of them. And he's going to be in there damn like this in his damn ghetto. They're going to be in the ghetto. And you're going to call his name. He's going to have a Hebrew name. You know? He said, I'm not going. Hey, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do if a Cushite tell you he's not coming to Jerusalem? You might say, okay. All right. Or you might do what? You might tell all them other Cushites, pick up these damn stones. And they will have to stone him, huh? And everybody's going to have to see it. If we have a hard time keeping the commandments, you think these other nations just going to get down? No, man. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. We're not letting nothing slide either. And guess what? They're not going to have grace. Grace is a limited time frame for the children of Israel. There's not going to be grace to these heathen in the kingdom, huh? People going to be getting burnt with fire, stoned, not getting no rain. This is Zechariah chapter 14 and verse number 17. I'm going to start at 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it's not just going to be the Feast of Tabernacles. They're going to have to keep the new moons we read about, the Sabbath days, and other feast days. Now, let's see what happens if they don't do it. Verse 17, and it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Which means what? You're going to starve to death. That's exactly what that means. Remember, Elijah prayed that it might not rain, and it didn't rain for 3.5 years. And you had women eating their own babies. It got so bad, they were eating dung and feces that came from birds and eating damn donkeys' heads and skulls and scraping matter out of it. It was bad, man. They're not going to have any rain. It's not a light thing. Oh, there's no rain today. Okay, well, it'll rain tomorrow. No, it ain't going to rain tomorrow, man. Your animals ain't going to eat. You ain't going to be able to eat, man. We're cutting your water off. We're going to cut their water off, man. That's what they say here. You know, we're going to cut their water off. Verse number 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain. And guess what, man? I'm going to tell you this too. They'll not get no rain doesn't mean that they're not going to, they're going to be out of work. They're still going to be working. And they're going to have no rain. They're going to be thirsty. We're going to make them work harder. Or you ain't going to come to Egypt? Come to Jerusalem? No, you're not getting no water, man. And a lot of these guys are going to die, man. And when you don't have any rain too, you get a lot of sicknesses, man. Disease. People stink. They're going to be able to bathe themselves. Flies come in. You know? And it's going to be torture, man. Right? Let's read on. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain. There shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. That's in the kingdom. They're going to have to keep the law. They don't keep the law, it's going down. It's going down. If they don't bow down, that's why the Lord says what? We're going to rule them with a rod of iron, which represents severity and strictness of the judgment. Yahushua rules us with the rod, his rod and staff, they comfort us. It's a wooden rod. It's of correction, not to destroy us. The rod of iron is for destruction and severe judgment. Right? So again, we're going to reign on the earth and we're going to subdue the people under us. We're going to set them in order. Right? Let's go back to this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and 14. I shall set the people in order. That's putting them back in their boundaries, putting them back in their land. And they're going to be in chains. You're going to have to drag them by chains, and they're going to be brought back to their land. They're going to have to cut down trees to build their houses, their ghettos. They're going to have to mine in the earth to bring out gems and jewels for the kingdom of heaven. And the nations shall be subject unto me. Horrible tyrants shall be afraid when they do but hear of me. I shall be found good among the multitude and valiant in war. So I spoke about those horrible tyrants in the spirit. They're gonna hear of you, man. You know, certain of horrible tyrants are going to be back on the earth. Julius Caesar, he's a horrible tyrant. Ptolemy the First, Cassander, you know. Who is this other demon? Caligula, that was a demon. You know, Claudius, who had the Jews depart from Italy. Those are horrible tyrants. And they're going to know that you're of the elect. You're going to reign on the earth. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 61. Right? That's what the 4 and 20 elders sang about. Right? Isaiah chapter 61 and verse number 4. And they shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And it's going to take time for them to build. It's not going to be an overnight project. For anybody thinking that once America and the world is destroyed, you're going to be teleported into your own mansion. No, that has to be built. You know, it's going to take time for them to build. Now, the Most High can put the spirit in them to get the work done faster, but they're going to build up different cities. Solomon put a levy out and had thousands, tens and thousands of people working in the mountains simply to gather precious stones. We're going to do that same thing. Verse number 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. So they're going to feed all our flocks. They're going to work in the fields. And you're not going to work, man. Imagine that, no more work forever. Living forever. You're going to have the best wine. You're going to wear the best clothes. You're going to drink the best water. You're going to have fresh lamb, fresh fruit. You're finally going to be able to eat fresh. Oh, I ate fresh. I went to Whole Foods, and that's not fresh, man. Well, I said organic. It doesn't mean any damn thing, man. You've never, really think about it, you've never really eaten fresh food. Because the soil is polluted. You say, well, hold on, I got my own farm. Well, first of all, the ground and the earth is polluted. The water is polluted. So whatever you eat is polluted, man, pursuant to the prophecy of Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. But in the kingdom, you're finally going to eat fresh fruit, fresh food, fresh meat. You know? Verse number 6. But ye shall be named priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. We're going to boast ourselves in the kingdom of heaven. Right? Let's go back to Revelation chapter 5. Right, as we wind down. Right, as we wind down through the spirit and power of Yahweh, his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. Revelation chapter 5. I'm going to go back to this. And verse number 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So we showed you how we're going to be kings, but also priests. The priests are going to teach the law. Did not the Most High say that the priest's lips should keep knowledge in Malachi 2 and 7? And they shall seek the law at his mouth. So the dietary law, we're going to have to teach that. That might be difficult teaching that to the Moabite man. You have to tell the Moabite man, you can't eat dog anymore. No more cat. No more squid. No more octopus. No more sea urchins. I mean, they eat some stuff that I've never even seen before. You're going to have to teach that. You're going to have to tell an Edomite, and you can't be a damn homosexual, man. And they're going to get mad, man. They're going to give you some lip, some attitude. But that's our job as being a priest, man. You have to tell that Hamite, man. What them Hamites be, look at this African. I hate to even have this on my damn history, man. Look at this. Look at this, man. I feel bad. I'm not going to say I feel bad because you're going to be in the kingdom. But you're going to have brothers, man, that have to go teach these Hamites how not to do this, man. I mean, what would possess you in your right mind, your God-given mind, to bathe in cow urine? You know, you gotta really think about how sick that is, man. You gotta time out. It's not like they do that 24/7. You gotta watch them. Okay, you about to urinate. Let me get in there. Right? You gotta be a demon. You gotta have a demon on you. You know? So some people are gonna have to get these Hamites in order, man. This whole earth, look at this. These guys, this is madness, man. These people, these heathen are finished. These heathen are finished, man. And they're not going to have the laws in their inward parts, man. I said that before. So they're going to have to be complied. Now that the Most High, like it's in the book of Joshua, he could put the spirit of fear in them. You know, when the Israelites came out of Egypt, all nations feared us because the Most High put the fear of Israel and on him on all lands round about. You know, but you still have people rebelling. And you're going to have that same spirit. Right? Now they got the dog meat festival. Right? For the Moabites. You're going to have men that are created to get these nations in order, to teach them, here, Here's a lamb. You're going to have to show them a lamb. You're going to have to show them what a cloven foot is. And that part's the hoof. You're going to have to break down what it means to chew the cud. Here's a lamb. You can eat this. Here's a cat. You can't eat this. Here's why. You're going to have brothers that are teaching them the law. You know? Here's a woman. You are supposed to be with this woman. We're going to have arranged marriages, man, for these Edomites. Otherwise, man, they're going to freaking off. Here, you're going to be with a woman. Here's what the woman is for. Here's the natural use of a woman. Here's the natural use of a man. Here's what the moon is for. We're going to have to teach all that. Don't worship the moon. It's for signs and seasons and days and years. Here's the sun. Here's what the sun is for. That rainbow, here's why we have the rainbow. So here's your nationality, right? You are a Moabite. So all of that is going to be taught, man. Right? Let's get that Malachi 2 and 7. The priest's lips should keep knowledge. Right? Malachi 2 and 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they shall seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. Right? That's plain. Let's go to Micah 4 and 1. Micah chapter 4 and 1. But it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. So when we are established, we're going to be the top kingdom on the earth. And many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So the law is going to be taught by the priest. We're going to teach them the ways of the word, right? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 8. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 8. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea, and summer and in winter shall it be. So the living water is going to be spread throughout the four corners of the earth. That's what the Most High said, right? All throughout the year. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22 and 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. So the pure river of life is the living water, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And in the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. So the nations are going to have the leaves of the tree, which represents the understanding. Trees represent men. Your leaf represents your understanding. So they're going to receive the understanding of wisdom, but they will not have the fruit. And like I always say, the fruit has more substance and nutrients in it than a leaf, right? Nobody wants to pluck the leaf off of an apple and eat it. It doesn't do what the fruit actually does. So the fruit is the immortal knowledge and wisdom and understanding that's going to constantly be given to us, right? That's what it means to yield her fruit every month. Ordinary trees only bear fruit seasonally. Pears come out every season. Cherries, they come out at certain seasons. The knowledge and wisdom of the Most High is not like ordinary trees. It's going to constantly be there. We're going to constantly be in order. We're going to always and forever be righteous every month. And we're going to have understanding and use it to heal the nations and teach the nations law and order. Right? So we're going to reign on the earth. That is the song of the 420 elders. And with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Wamalak Yahushai. Again, it is the new moon, the 6th month of the year. Call Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Wamalak Yahushai. Another month to do what? To increase in light, to come out of darkness, to build yourself up to perfection, to examine yourself, and to reverence Yahweh Bashmir Shah with all your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul. That, again, most high willing, you are edified. Kwam Yasha. Shalom.